We are recording. Well, my friends, I thought we could do something a little bit different here while I'm trying to do many things at once. And just this kind of a, let's just say how you say in English, a poopcast or whatever that is. I just figured we can talk about some stuff while I'm working on the map. And as of right now, I'm doing the lower elevation levels of the mountains and these unknown lands that I don't know the name of. You can see that's how far we've gotten. We did all this yesterday, and now we're working on doing these mountains here. Then we'll get up there. We don't really know. I have sketch ideas. Like, maybe there's some mountains here, some here, and maybe there. Some that kind of, come from a great source up here. Don't know. We have some rough ideas down here. Just ignore that. That's the test thing. Like working with colors there to see how it would look. And we get to do this whole continent here. So while I'm doing this, while this is happening, why don't we talk about a few things? Why don't we do this actually? How about that? So, for instance, what'd you think of the videos? What are they called? Prelude to the Trade War. What'd you think about that? Kind of cool, huh? Jacobo did his first video. I think he did pretty good. I think it was hilarious. The what is it? The mic thing when it came unplugged. Now, when I was fucking with that, interestingly enough, I had, I'll be honest, I don't really look at the videos. I don't edit them too much. And so I didn't know that for a few minutes before that, the audio started to kind of go in and out. No idea. I thought that was just a one-off incident. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. It probably pop right out, and then it's fine. Now, taught me a lesson and check your work before you send it. Maybe. I don't know. I'll probably still continue to do that. More like it teaches me that I should have told him, hey, keep an eye on where it's plugged in. That's something that I would be mindful of. That's why it's not happened to me. Cause I'm just I constantly, I don't know if you can tell in the videos, I'm constantly just checking it. So I'll let him know next time, always keep a fucking eye on that thing. We don't know when something could happen to that. Now, other than that, I think it was pretty good. It had about, I don't know if it was 13 views on it before I actually took it off and replaced it with the fixed audio version. Because what I did was I recorded it with two different sources for such occasions if something goes wrong. So I'm recording on what's happening is the telephone or the cellular phone is recording the video. The screen capture is recording the screen and the audio. So I have two different recordings going off at the same time. And what that's doing is what you see before you. So obviously the little, what the hell is that called? Display in the bottom corner of the person speaking. It's just a separate thing. And so what I had to do is, and this is the only way I know how to do it, I'm going to be honest with you. I basically have to sync the audio manually. Okay, I got to line them up just right where the audio from the screen capture matches the audio from the telephone or the cellular phone. And once I match that, I'll mute the cell phone audio. So you don't have that. Because I try to match it where you can't even tell it's two different sounds. Because the farther apart sound is, the more dissonance it creates with the waves of it all. And you can hear that. It sounds like someone's double speaking in a way. When it's not quite lined up, it sounds like there's an echo, right? The closer you get, the less of an echo you'll have. So I guess and I don't have a very strenuous tool to get in there and fucking see. I can only zoom in so far. It is not a video program that's expensive, so it's like this. I'm using the Microsoft Paint for recording movies and stuff. So I don't have the fucking tools to get in there and do it properly and like look at the audio and isolate it in such a way. And I don't have those tools, which is fine. It works for the purposes now. I'm not going to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on something and just not use it, you know? Hence why I don't have like a paint shop program when I'm doing this kind of shit. You know, this is working just fine. This picture is so large that, you know, if I zoom out from what I'm doing, you can't even really tell. It just looks like something you'd see on anybody's YouTube channel, or as we call it in the biz, channel. But yeah, see how the picture's huge. So that's this is, again, these are the base layers of the mountains. Then I'm gonna do like a medium brown for the second layer, and I'll do a dark brown for like the top layer. No, maybe 4 layers. So like a, but once that's all done, it'll look really good. And you know, when we'll talk about certain areas, this will be the map that we use. Just like this one's the one that you're used to. But isn't it crazy that the entire story takes place mostly here with the Drana, the little bit of the Murphos, and the Hafel Mountains? Like, that's it. Like, the rest of this world, like, it matters, but fucking, you know, as you saw through the Trade War series, like, these people exist, but, you know, it's more like they're there. So it kind of, in my mind, it opens up so many opportunities for story. I've so often just kind of sat and pondered, like, man, like this map here that I'm working on just happened about less than a month ago. I knew that there was probably a world outside of the, you know, the maps that you've, you know, seen in the videos and what we've talked about. We've always kind of known about that, but we never really explored it. And honestly, that's kind of one of the fun things about the channel is you are kind of watching the process. And I know it's been 11 years already, but you're watching it kind of all come together, and we're still working on it, clearly. Like, you can really see just how much through every video that's been put up, it's being worked on. This is a constant process. Like the video of me and Jacob kind of talking about, I call it, I think, behind the scenes of the Trade War series or something. That's one of every, like, that's just how those sessions kind of go. And so you can kind of see how little we really know about the world. And so we have aspects of it that we try to explore, and we have things that we try to talk about or, you know, problem solve. And to me, that's where Jacob's like very, like, that's where his strength lies, is his problem solving skills. I believe he called it once being like dynamite. It's messy, but it gets, you know, gets the job done. And then we can kind of detail it later, which I find that to be my job. So when I'm doing this with him and Kevin, I find that Jacob will just see an issue and just throw a bunch of fucking dynamite at it, blow it up, and we'll see what happens. And then I'll, with him, sift through the rubble, come up with an idea and say, okay, I don't know. And then we'll see. Then I'll go in by myself and just detail and clean up and clean and clean and clean and find the source of it and say, oh, here we go. That's a story. That's a fucking story right there. And then I'll start working on it myself. I fill him in. He adds things to it. And then that's just how it rolls. So we do it much like you would in a band with music, to which I've explained to him many times. This is kind of like what it's like to be in a band. It really is. I mean, since I've been in a couple bands, this is about how it is in the creative process. It's so enjoyable to make something with people. And you never know, man. You never know what it'll turn into. Don't stick onto ideas too hard, or else you could find it limits you. You know, learn to look at the raw product and say, I don't know, but there's something here. You start doing that, man, it will open up so much beyond your wildest dreams. Honestly, that and just slow the fuck down. I know we live in the modern era, but there's something to be said about, how would I word this? Slow cooking? I don't know. Doing something nice and slow over years instead of pumping out a fucking thing in months. We have 8 months to get this product out. Like, first of all, it's not a product, and second, like, that's stupid to like put a timeline on it. That's my opinion, though. I mean, I don't really know how fair that is to everything else because I don't know, but and with what I know, that makes sense, man. I can't imagine if I were to push this fucking thing out in 2 years, if that was my timeline, that I wouldn't. It wouldn't be anything as how amazing it is now. Maybe not to someone that's watching this because they don't know. You don't know the brevity of the whole fucking situation. You only know like what I allow on YouTube, which is like a fraction. Let's be honest, but it's amazing, dude. It really is. It's a very cool kind of. This book is just something that I never thought it would ever be. And for me, it's like, it's one of the most amazing things that I've been a part of in my life. Creatively in such a way. Sadly. I mean, that's just how it is for me, but it's the amount of detail. The amount of, I wouldn't even want to call it fluff because it's not. It all has a purpose, or it will serve a purpose eventually. But the amount of just detail is astounding to me. And in my mind, I don't really think of like, again, with the timeline idea, I don't want to think of it like, shit, this is it. And then I release it, and because I want to get people to watch it, I want, or whatever, read it in this instant, and I want people to fucking, I don't know. I'm trying to please people because in my mind I'm really not. Like, this is for me, and the way my mind works, this is just how it is. Like I can't look at a situation and just accept it. Like, I got to know the source of it. And I got to explore it in grave detail until I'm okay with, how it turns out. Is that bad? I don't know. But I just think that's the only way you can really accomplish something if you are working on a project like this. Like, how are you supposed to, what's the word I'm thinking of, like, in terms of creating something that you enjoy, there's an aspect in which, I guess, yes, of course, you want to show people, it's a product, it's a part of you, you're really proud of it. But in my mind, let me see how I can word this. They come to me. I'm not coming to them, if that makes sense. If people don't like certain aspects of it, I can't see the blue very well. Gotta really get in there. That's hard to see. If people don't like certain aspects of the book, or even of this YouTube channel, for instance, fine. That's okay. I'm not gonna change anything until I feel like it's right for me to change. I don't see that as a bad thing. What did I do that for? I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I just kind of think it's the point of it is, it's like, this is mine that I'm doing, and you can watch me do it. It's about that simple, honestly. What is exactly the point of all this? Checkers. Well, I don't know the answer to that. Why am I doing any of this? I don't fucking know, dude. I think I say that all the time, don't I? Don't I constantly say that? Like, I don't know why I'm doing this. It's true. I don't fucking know. I don't have an agenda. And it'll lead back to this thing that I remember. This happened yesterday. Yesterday, I found this really, really good bookstore in a city about an hour away from me called Ann Arbor. Right, it's a bigger city. It's one of the biggest cities I've been in a long time. But to most people, they're probably like, "And what?" Now, that fucking city is it's so artsy fartsy. There's a lot of those kind of yucky people there and stuff, right? And everything that you see in the telly, it's like there. It's so weird. Or the trans stuff and the weird, just a bunch of fucking like just shit. Like, I live in the country, man. I'm not used to that shit. I'm not used to seeing a man walking around in short shorts with his butt cheeks hanging out. But he's not a man. He's a woman. That to me is just odd. I don't come from that. I don't live in that life, I don't explore that weird shit in the internet either. So to me, I'm a country ass boy that's going in there going like, what the fuck is this shit? No shame? Fuck. Or like the way lesbians act out. It's just like really weird. It's jarring if you're not used to it. It's like Sodom Gomorrah, man. And like, so as I'm exploring that, I found this bookstore that my lady found, and she took me there because my birthday's coming up. I think I'm going to be 32, I believe. Either that or 30. No, I don't know. Probably 32. Probably. Don't know. I'm going to assume. And like, so I went in there. Let me get the name of it because it matters. It's called Dawn Treader Bookshop. And it's like, it says, what does it always say? It's like a used bookstore of rare and antique books, too. I'm like, oh my God, that's me, right? And so I went in there and it was fabulous. The shelves were, golly, I don't know, 10 feet tall. Crammed so many fucking books. They were all over the floors, too. I was in heaven. And there was a preserve section of like all these really old books. And they were in cases and shit. And they were kind of expensive. And I'm like, well, that's what I want to get. And so I found a book about Freemasons. It's the history of the Freemasons. And I'm like, I have to get this. And it was only like, for a 7-volume set, it was only $200 for 7 fucking books. I was like, that is amazing. And the prices were just ridiculously good. Like I opened a book up, a hardcover older book, and I'm like, oh God, how much? $9. I'm like, there's no way. This is $9 fucking dollars. Are you kidding me? I was just overjoyed. It was amazing. And so when I went up to the counter, the lady gave me a deal at $200. Because, man, I looked it up, man. Those books are a little bit more expensive than $200 fucking dollars. But I'm not going to say anything. Now, that's what she wanted to do, and she owned it. She's like my age, probably, I would imagine. Around my age at least. And I was just so struck by everything. And she owned it. She had purchased it. I looked it up. I don't know the full story. And then it's just running that place. And it's amazing. It's absolutely astounding what is happening in there. So I just thought, I'm going to write her an email. I'm going to tell her how fucking amazing this was and how much I appreciate what she's doing and, me things. And I just wanted to say, I really like what you're doing. I appreciate it. It means a lot. And I see what you're doing. And I just wanted to reward that by telling you, great job. Just something like that. I wanted to validate. Not like I thought she needed it, but I was told to. And this is what I'm getting to, the point of it all. So I wrote her this long email, like, hey, great. I loved it. It was amazing. You're doing such a great job. And you were very respectful and kind to me. And I really appreciated that. And I love what you're doing. And it's amazing. Just like, ass kissing, but not really ass kissing necessarily. Just I was in awe of it. I had to say something. And so I went there a couple days later. And she said, and she said my name. Like, you're my name, right? I don't like to say my name, so that's why I say that. And I was like, yes. And she's like, I really appreciate that. It was so kind, like, and so sincere. Like, it meant so much to me to read that. And I was like, well, this means so much to me that you have this. So, that's why I had to say it. I wanted to let you know how special this is. This is amazing, and that was that. Now I went off and bought more books and stuff, and I left. There's a couple aspects I can explore when it comes to this forming bonds and stuff like that, and then finding ins and stuff. But what I want to talk about is why I say things to people. Because, for instance, I had another moment happen. There's this guy who owns a Celtic bookstore in San Francisco. And now I found him somehow. And I bought from him on Abe. And he's like, Abe is an online bookstore, basically. And essentially, they have contact you when you use PayPal, because that's what I do. I'm not a big fan of putting my credit card everywhere, so I just use PayPal. And I did that, and he got, that automatic message like, okay, cool, you bought it on Abe, so we just got to send it over here so we can blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a purchase thing. And I did it as soon as I got that email. And so what he wrote to me was, hey, we were so debating on getting rid of the whole PayPal option, but then someone like you shows up and we decided to keep it. So thank you so much for being considerate in that, because sometimes people just don't do it for a long time. And I was like, of course. And he's like, also, by the way, what made you get this book? Because it's actually one of my favorites. It's actually a historical account of Gildas of England. Remember how I'm reading about stuff when it comes to the histories, and I was talking about Bede and all that? Well, this is before Bede. This is Gildas, and he's talking about the Britons and this and that. And I said, well, I'll be honest, and I just kind of laid it out like I'm working on this book, and I'm doing a lot of research, and I'm studying cultures, and I'm studying aspects of Christianization of the Western world. I'm also, I went into it. I'm exploring this culture and that culture, and I'm very fascinated by the Celtic peoples, and I searched to know more and more about them, and blah, blah, blah. And I could tell it was special to him, and he's like, that's amazing, and here's more that you could find. And we have a website, too. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll take fucking the website. And I went on there, and it was broken up into such amazing sections. Like, this is just medieval. This is just Celtic medieval. And this is like, I was fascinated. It was amazing. And so, let's go to a new place. And so basically I said, yeah, oh man, this is awesome. So I kind of went there. Let me look around, see what I have to deal with here. We'll go down here. This is going to be tough. And I purchased a book from them. Now, this book, to me, it just, as soon as I saw it, I said, like, I don't know why, but I have to have it. And I'll show you real quick. Then I bought that book called Candle of Vision, and this is what he wrote. You have bought just now a book very close to our bookshop. The Candle of Vision, signed by our co-founder, rest her soul. You are blessed indeed, and it was meant for you to receive. Thank you again for your order and kind words about our website. And again, I will send this weekend, and we'll include tracking, blah, blah, blah. You have superb taste. Okay. Now, when I was when I read that, talking to that chick there at that God damn it, at the bookstore, I always felt like people were always kind of shocked. I don't know, like by my, just like I'll have a be there and I'll have a presence or something. And people are very, they're always like that. Like, oh my God, like you just did something super meaningful to me or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh yeah, because, I'm used to that. I'll be honest. So to me, it's like, I guess it's not as special. Like, I wasn't shocked when I read that. I was like, yeah, of course. Like, well, which one wouldn't I have bought? And the reason is, and I don't tell them this too much, but I really can feel it. And I've talked about it a little bit on this channel here. But I feel the hand of God all the time. And it's like, I go back to this moment in my life. God, I don't even know how many years ago this was. This must have been at least 7. And I was meditating. I was walking to college at that time. And I would take rests and meditate because it'd be hot days and shit. It was a long walk, man. I'll be honest. It was like 2-hour walk. And like, when I'd take these little breaks and meditate, I was very, very close. When you get into that meditation stuff and you start to do it for a while, and you can really start to feel the effects of it and manipulate it and kind of do stuff with those, whatever you want to call it, powers and shit. When you get to that element of it, you can start to see your own like atoms and like weird fucking stuff. I just was like so in tune with that. But once I was meditating, I heard a woman's voice speak to me. And it just told me very simply, you are a conduit. That's it. It didn't elaborate on that. And I was like, okay, yes, ma'am. And I never really questioned it. I was like, of course I am. Like, you said so. Like, what else? What else could that be? I'm not going to deny this. So I don't waste my fucking time pretending I don't believe. And ever since then, I feel it. And when I come in contact with people, first of all, I don't have any control over who I come in contact with. That's for God to decide every fucking time. I'm just like walking around. He's like, all right, you're going to need to talk to this person. Like, okay, I guess so. And then I go and do it. And in that moment, I do say, think, or feel something that person needs. I can fucking feel that. That I don't know how to explain. I will meet this person. I will just, like that email to that bookstore woman. Like, I felt like I had to do that. Like, something's like, say these things. Say them. Like, okay. Fucking, this is the stuff I have to say. And I do it, and then I get done, and then I'm ashamed after. I'm always like, oh, God. Like, damn it, why did I do all this? I'm like, well, I have to. And I can see people appreciate it, or like, that guy there. I can't really name a lot more of my life because it's just so much. I can't really pay attention, but ask maybe my friends, and they'll probably tell you stories about stuff. But through that, have I experienced what I consider the hand of God. But there's something else that I've kind of experienced too. And that is the aspect of when you hear people talk about Christianity and accepting Jesus, right? They always kind of equate it to like, it's like he's there, but he's waiting for me, right? And then once I need him, he's right there. And I don't feel judged and I don't feel this and whatever. And I find myself being that way. Because, they say live like Jesus. Like, okay, well, here we go. I fucking live like him. And I've had friends in my life that I don't ever judge them in the stuff that they do that I don't agree with. Or maybe I know that they shouldn't be doing, and they know that I know. But I don't say anything. I just look at them and just show them like, hey, I don't really dig this, what you're doing, but this is your life, and I am going to be right here when you need me. And there are times when I'm not going to go into it, obviously, but there are times my friends have needed me very severely and drastically, and I was there. And the reason I mention that is when they say, I think that's what they mean when they say just be like, live like Jesus. Like, there's no reason to judge these people. But you have to be there right at that moment of their need. And sometimes that moment of need is a little bit hard to define. You can't really, I don't know. You can't plan that. You don't know when that's going to happen. They're going to call you and they're going to need you to take them somewhere. They hurt themselves and they need to go to the emergency room, where they fucking are super depressed and they need to talk to you. Like, you can't control when that happens. It'll always happen when it does, and it takes you by surprise. But in that moment, being there with them, if you channel the right thing, you'll say exactly what they need to hear. And for me in my life, aspects of it, man, it's been hard sometimes with some of my friends and some of the things that they go through daily and or they have gone through. And, I really try my damnedest to be the best person I could be for them, but I falter sometimes. And, I'm very guilty of being a recluse. And, I mean, this is what I'm doing. When people are like, what does he do? I'm like, this is it. I work on aspects of my book as much as I possibly fucking can, because I just don't have enough time to get it done. And it's tough. You want to be a good person, but at the same time, like, you got art to do, man. You got art to do. But I think that's the true point of it, and I can feel it. And so what I'm trying to say, long-winded, if you will, is I feel the hand of God. I can feel it all the fucking time. It's surreal. It's absolutely surreal. It's emotional. And I'll see moments when someone has that within them too, and maybe they realize that, maybe they don't. A lot of the times they don't. I'd say 95% of the time. I get fucking emotional. I want to cry. Like when I see people happily exploring something or doing what they're meant to do. Like that woman at that bookstore. Doing what she's meant to do. I wanted to cry. I felt that fucking power. That was absolutely amazing. And because of that, I think, and this is what blows my mind, this is what makes me get emotional thinking about it, is like, I think, and I don't know, but I think God knows what they're doing and appreciates it. And like, he sends certain people to be like, hey, like, again, I'm not the only one, but he's like, go and say this to them. They're doing this is amazing. This is exactly what they should be doing. You need to say that to them. And that's why I'm like, God damn, okay, like, fucking, I don't like attention. I don't like talking to people about stuff, but I'll fucking do this, And I'll go and say, hey, you're doing a great job, and I really appreciate you, and it's wonderful, and I can see how much care and passion you have, and it shows. Like, that's why I'll do that, because I feel it. I feel the hand of God, like, telling me that I got to go do this. Like, you can't just say no to that, So that's what it is for me. And it's okay if you want to equate that to humanism and say, like, no, that's like because you're a human and you appreciate blah, blah, blah. Like, sure, if you want, I don't care. That's fine. But I know what it really is. And it blows my fucking mind, dude. Because you get those feelings like, why me? Like, what about me? And, it makes so much sense. In my life, I've always felt like an alien. I've always kind of felt like, I don't know, not part of it, and always shocked when other people are a part of it and they all get it and I don't. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why do you guys all know about this philosophy? Or why does everyone know about this shit? Why am I always left behind? And I feel like I'm not part of the human race. I feel like I'm here and I'm like fucking learning it. And then I feel like God's like, okay, like, you're going to go here now. You're going to talk to these people about this. I'm like, hey, okay. And then I go and do it. And it's difficult sometimes. It really is to try to participate, and you can see it in aspects of, obviously I don't know anything about most of the cultural things happening now because I'm not a part of it. And so I don't get it and I'm not doing it. It doesn't mean anything to me because I don't feel like I'm here. I feel like I'm just kind of at whim of whatever. But then I feel those moments of the hand of God just telling me to do something. And I know that aspects, sometimes people get afraid of those kind of things, especially God stuff. It can be quite jarring. I get it. That's why I won't ever preach, like, and you need to, like, fucking accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. Like, I'm not going to be that guy or tell someone to go read a Bible or shame them or something. I don't know. Whatever people feel like happens to them. I understand. It's totally fine. I'm not going to tell you to convert or something. That's not what I'm about. I'm just going to sit here and, like, again, like that Jesus thing. I'm going to sit there and be around, and when you need me, I'll be right there. As soon as you need me, and I'm not going to ask anything in return. Which leads me to this, the book. I'm sure I've said it many times, but I feel that with this book, like, why the fuck am I doing it? What is this about? I'll never be able to answer that. So I'll just don't think it's about to be answered. I don't know. But I know I'm supposed to be doing it. I don't fucking know why. Why am I drawing mountains right now of a goddamn place that doesn't exist? I don't know. There's that aspect of your own personal heaven, and is this where I'm going to go? I don't fucking know. But I'm doing it because I feel like I have to do this. And because of that, I've invited two of my only friends. Well, I have three. Well, I technically have four. But my friends, Jacob and Kevin, I invited them in here. And to them, I think they are beginning to see what I'm talking about. Of like this, it's meant to be, we have to do this, this is destined. I don't know, whatever terminology you like to use, but I think they're seeing it now. And I remember moments that we've shared, where maybe they felt guilty about not doing this as much or whatever, and I just reaffirmed to them, like, that's not me. I mean, if you feel that way, I understand. I do too. Trust me. I go through it all the time. I also feel like I'm not putting enough into this book. So that's like, you say that, I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I know I feel that all the time. I feel that every day almost. But it's because I know that this is the work that God wants me to do, and it's not really mine, I guess. I don't know. I don't apologize to me. It's okay. We got this. We're doing this. Because I think what the story of Jesus tells is something that I can relate to, and God damn it, we have a plan and we're doing it. I don't know what it is, but just come with me, man. Let's go. Where are we going? I don't know where we're going, but we're going to go there. Come on. This is what we're supposed to do. Come with me. Like, maybe it's not very like Jesus, like, God has told us to do this, and very knowing of what he's supposed to do. I'm more like, I don't know, but we gotta go, man. And if anyone falls in my friend group, I and everyone else that knows them will pick them back up, and let's go back, man. Come on. We gotta get back to the story. We have to figure this out. And it's so weird, man. It really is. And you ask Kevin about the numbers that we see all the time. The number 22, which is tomorrow, which is the day I was born, so 6/22. My birthday's tomorrow, and there's something really weird about the number 22 that I always would see. For years, this number would plague me. I'd see it everywhere. And I'd want to ignore it. And I'd try to run from it. And it kept finding me and finding me and finding me and finding me. I'm just getting sick of it. I mean, it's still happening to this day. I just bought a book and it comes in the mail. And on the book, for whatever fucking reason, is like that philosophy book that we're doing a reading of. It's got number 22 written on it, on the bottom. Like, I can't control that. Like, but it's other aspects, too, of things I'm doing. It's so much that I don't even keep track of it. Like, yeah, this said 22, and then that did, and then this did. It's not about the time. I don't ever see it in the time. Well, I do. But I don't see it on purpose in the time like that. I always see it on objects that come to my fucking hands. I don't know exactly what that means. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what 22 is trying to say to me. I haven't a fucking clue, but I do know that maybe it means I'm on the right path. I hope. Or it's trying to guide me there. I don't know. I just remember once looking up 22 in numerology, whatever that means, and it said it was the number of the builder. And so what would I think? Well, I'm building this world. All right, let's go. I'm the builder. Let's build the fucking motherfucking project. And so that's what we're doing. And this humble little YouTube channel, the humble little beginnings of it. This is it. This is where it's starting. And from that point, we'll go. And we'll make whatever happens happen. I don't know what's going to happen and how far we're going to go. But I remember hearing this one woman. She has a YouTube channel called Part-Time Hobbit. And I remember her reading a story, a short story Tolkien wrote about Niggle is the name of the character, and the leaf, I believe, or something like that. Niggle and the leaf, or the unfinished leaf, or I don't know, something of that nature. And it's a very allegoric story about accepting death and accepting the projects you do as a creator. And there's aspects of it that, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a lot. You should read it. It's pretty good. And there was a part in there that I remember her saying, the allegory might be, it's like you're creating your own personal heaven. And the time, like your book, like when Tolkien might have, she surmised that maybe Tolkien felt like, oh, I'm never going to be known for this hard work I've done, and I've got so much to do, I'll probably never finish it, and I'll die unfinishing it. Like, he accepted that mortality within himself, is what she surmised. And like, I can understand that feeling, but there's a reassurance. Like, it's not about that. It's about the world that you're making. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. Like, there may be, like what I'm doing right now, this little mountain here. It's not little, it's fucking massive. This mountain way over here. Which, honestly, this reminds me, this looks like Turkey to me. And maybe this is like the Greek states and all that. And maybe that's the peninsula of I don't know what it's called, but I've assumed it's the Arabian Peninsula in Africa over here. I don't know if that's it, but it looks like it to me. Of course, right? Europe, Africa, fucking Russia. This mountain here. How many people are really going to notice this on the grand scheme of things? Is the story ever going to get over here? Are there ever going to be aspects of the story that explore these lands? Or is it merely just going to be in here? Here's Adrana, where the story starts. Here's where the story starts in book 2. Here's where the story starts in book 3. And so on and so on. It's never even mentioning up here. Here. This stuff doesn't really play a part of the story. Let alone this shit. So why do it? Why even bother yourself with this? I don't know. I have no idea, man. Oh, whoops, wrong side. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm compelled to do any of this. What is anything? I just know that I'm supposed to, and so yes, I shall. Maybe one day the story will reach this far. Maybe it won't. I've always loved the idea of Star Wars because of the extended universe. That people got together and created that. They worked together and made that universe what it is. That, to me, that's what I want. I want to make these lands for someone else to take them and go. Because what we will always do, is we will find the mythology of our real world in here. Which is what I'm trying to do, you know? I'm learning a lot about mythology and what it really means, and I really think that we're all echoing a story from the Greeks to the Bible to Hinduism to fucking Japanese cultures, and the stories about mythologies and stuff, Indian and all that. I think we're all telling the same story, just a little bit different way. Like I remember reading about Prometheus and eerie similarities to the flood, when those people were punished by what could have been surmised as Zeus punishing by flooding the people. But Prometheus tried to save them. In our world, like within the Bible, it makes it seem like God was like, well, I'll kill them, but not you. And so people think that maybe there's more than one God, which I believe too. Or maybe not more than one God, but more than one higher entity playing with mortal lives. At least they used to. I agree. I honestly think that could be the case. So, why are we all coming to this conclusion? These mountains are a little bit different, but that's okay. That's how life is. I don't know. But that's what I want to explore. So that's what we shall explore. Maybe together we could find the answer to that, and maybe that's the point of us doing these, like I don't know, maybe these mountains here, someone will like, this is the most meaningful place. Maybe a fucking Moses in the book, if you will be born of these mountains right here. And what I always look at and think of is, it's like a small version of it, isn't it? But like those little mountains right there. Hell, maybe our version of Moses was born, and he saves the whole world from disaster. I don't know. We don't know that. Maybe I'll come up with it. Maybe I won't. Is that coloring? Oh, green. Oops, wrong color. I don't know, man. All I know is I think something that we will explore shall happen. And we can together find the answer to what the story was always meant to tell us. There's something in this world that we have to find. It's inevitable. So let's always keep searching for this, and let's try to see what we can come up with. I'm more than happy to invite people in to do this. Just like with that lady at the bookstore and the other guy, I'm also more than happy to try to expand this and maybe have them help me by being resources to get this knowledge out there. Whatever is being given to me, I need to give to someone else. And that's the whole point of it. So when I meet that woman at that bookstore, I'm like, golly, she's got to possibly be connected with me in some way. If I'm supposed to talk to her, like, okay, like we have a connection, let's go. Help me. I need help. I need more people to do this. There's not enough people working on this book. Let's go. We have to work. We'll see. If people ever want to see a video like this again, I shall make it, because I got to do rough drawings of like, here's where I think mountains should be. coming from this direction and branching this way and that way through a huge chain. If people want to see it again, I will do it. I need comments, man. There's like, someone's watching these videos. Some people's are. It says I have 15 subscribers. I only know a couple of them because, you know, it only shows the ones that are public. I'm like, I don't know who you guys are. So just say something, you know, like let me know that there's humans out there, and I'll continue to do whatever is needed. I'm always more than happy to make a video of like, hey, like, can you talk about this? I don't understand. I'm like, okay, fuck yeah, I will. And I'll just talk about it in as much detail as I can. I'm looking to build a community, man. So we'll see what we can do, you know? So anything needed, I'll definitely answer that question, and, you know, we'll go from there. But anyway, I will try to do that one video again today too, of the reading of the philosophy, which is hard, but I'll do it. So that's all. I shall see y'alls next time.